truly African.
Hello, good evening, and welcome to the show. This is The Couch. My name is Ama Pratt. Our topics for tonight are Supreme Court declares remuneration for presidential spouses unconstitutional. Prof's punches. Jane jabs government in outdooring oratory. We would also be looking at the energy embarrassment exterminates enterprises. So these are three major topics for conversation for this evening. I would quickly introduce my co-discussants for the evening. I have been joined in the studio by D. Kojo Yankson. Hi, Kojo. Hi, looking lovely in your mustard.
You're very kind. Thank you. Glad you like it.
It's great to have you here.
Always a pleasure.
Always a pleasure, too. We've also been joined by Kwame Owusudan. So, hi, Kwame.
Hello, Ama.
Esquire. Yes, Esquire.
Hello,
I left
Ama.
out Esquire. Kwame, I see mustard in your shirt, too.
Okay.
I think I missed the memo. I missed them. Well, welcome, gentlemen. Let's go straight to the Supreme Court. Let's start from the Supreme Court. So, we've been told that the first and second ladies are not entitled to the benefits of Article 71 office holders, which is pretty interesting. It's been ongoing for a bit, this conversation around including them. Some have said that the conversation to start with was, not moot, just strange. If you look at what our constitution has to say about this. First of all, they don't perform any constitutional duties. They are not, appointees in the sense of, being appointees. And then also they are non-elective, persons. Unless you are going to drag appointees to mean that anybody that the president chooses is an appointee. Until then, when we can stretch the arguments that far, then, I think the constitution is pretty clear. Pretty clear. No?
Well, in my view, it was never an issue that should have even been contemplated. But sometimes people just want to please their political masters. So these committees that are put together to determine the emoluments just thought they were doing something that would please their bosses. I don't know how long ago it started, but it had been going on for quite some time. We've had previous first and second ladies who have collected allowances for God knows how long. But this time around, it was flagged. And the media took it up and it became a national conversation, and we're all thinking, what is this? Imagine that you hire someone to be the CEO of your company, and then you are paying his wife a salary for being his wife. What is that? And so there was no place for it in our law, even in the common sense of our governance structure. There's no place for it. But we were doing it. And this most recent committee thought that, let's even increase their, their allowances, because they thought this is what they have to do to put a smile on the faces of those who appointed them. And this is just how we are. We are quite sycophantic in our politics. So the Supreme Court has made a ruling on it now, which is very good. I'm glad there is now legal closure to the matter, so that it can't be that later on someone else will come along and say, it was a convention that we abandoned, but we are bringing it back. We don't want to have this debate ever again. We now understand. First lady, second lady, we didn't elect you. We didn't appoint you. You are not holding public office. You are not required to do anything for the Republic of Ghana except be a wife. And that one is not a requirement of the Republic. It's a requirement of your husband. So he can pay you for that. We won't. He can give you a chop money or whatever you want to call, whatever pay you want to collect for holding that position. But it cannot be that the taxpayer is going to pay you to be a wife. No, that can't be it. So no, I'm glad it's now settled. Now, of course, in our future, this will apply to first gentlemen and second gentlemen as well, because I strongly believe we are going towards a place where we'll be having, female leaders at that level. So yes, I'm glad it's a settled matter. The Supreme Court has ruled on it. It's now. But does anybody know why it took this long? It really dragged
Took a while.
through the. Yeah, I'm not sure why, because this matter came up. Wasn't it during the previous term? Yeah, so I'm surprised that it took this long. But anyway, we are there, and it's settled, and there's nothing further to debate. Amen.
Amen. Amen. Amen.
Just like Kojo, I think I believe that this matter should not have even gone before the Supreme Court to begin with, because it's quite evident in the Constitution, and the Constitution clearly spells out the beneficiaries under Article 71. And nowhere in the Constitution does it mention wives or spouses of presidents and vice presidents. And on the basis of that, I think that the Professor Yaa Ntiamo Bidu's led report should not have even recommended that to Parliament, and for Parliament to subsequently approve the recommendations. I think it's, you know, it's telling of how partisan we are in this country, that even when we know that the Constitution frowns on something, even when we know that the Constitution is quite clear in respect of a particular provision, because we want to please our paymasters, we will still gravitate towards, you know, the position of government. I find that very, very unfortunate. I think the arguments advanced by Nafia Mekpo and his team, and I think strangely, even Abronye DC also took the state to court. Yes. So there were two matters, but same issues. So the court had to hear the matter separately. You know, so it tells you that even within this administration, some people were not in favor of it. So I'm happy that the matter is settled. I'm happy that ultimately finality has been brought to the matter. But going forward, like Ojo said, I think these are important lessons that we must learn. And again, let me make this point, that we should not blindly follow our political parties to the point where our conscience will not guide our actions and inactions. Because honestly, if we are to build this country and see this country to the point where we want it to be, then we must always be guided by the principles which governs us. Because we elected to be governed by the Constitution. We decided. That is why the preamble says, we the people of... So the Constitution, the law resides in the people. It emanates from the people. So if you are acting in ways which are at variance with the provisions of the Constitution, invariably you are disrespecting the people of Ghana. So we must be minded going forward that there are some things that we must not challenge. There are some things that we must not promote in order that we can have a peaceful and enjoyable. You know, on a lighter note, people said that, you know, the salaries would have been used to purchase designer bags.
Okay, fine. Let's come back to the Constitution.
But Ama, no, let me make this fundamental point.
Right.
Granted that we have stated that they are not entitled to any salaries, maybe we must have a relook at perhaps the roles that they play, you know, being the wives of the president and the vice, because let's face it, they play some fundamental roles. So let's find a way of creating, because I think the argument was that if we intended for the wives to be paid, then that should have been through a bill to Parliament for Parliament's approval, and not through a recommendation by a committee. So if in the wisdom of all of us, we think that going forward, that is something we can do, I don't think that we should, I think we should look at it. Because if you look at this current First Lady, what's her name, Madame Rebecca, she's doing some amazing stuff, right? If you look at Lord Mohammed's foundation, they've done a lot of work. So maybe we should look at it. Maybe we should just look at it and see if we can allocate some funds to their office for the purposes of, I'm just saying, allocate some funds to their office for the purpose, but also define exactly what it is that they are going to be using those monies for.
But aren't those foundations, aren't those philanthropic, you know, so if we are going to now constitutionally allocate money to the, then it ceases to be what it is.
Yes. No,
Then we are just
agree.
we are creating another sector of the gender ministry, so to speak, because most of the things they do are for women and for children, and we have a ministry for that. We have somebody that's elected, appointed, with constitutional duties, and I'm saying all this just to stay within the words of the Constitution.
Yeah, I agree with you,
For
but
the
there are
purpose.
special projects that people can, take up. There are special projects. We must not necessarily limit it to children and women. There may be some other projects that they can do, building of hospitals and some other. I'm just saying that if it is possible, we may have to look at it and see if we can allocate some money to their office for the purposes of running their office.
Start down that slope of allocating money, even though I also have to agree with you that they do certain important things, usually through philanthropy.
Yeah.
And I mean, look, even wealthy countries like the United States, one of the wealthiest countries in the world, I was shocked to hear Michelle Obama in an interview talking about how they have to pay for everything. If they host a dinner, they have to pay the staff who are already paid to work at the White House. If they are supposed to stay for 2 extra hours to cater your dinner, you have to pay them. You have to pay for the food. Even the peanuts that they chew in the White House, they have to pay for it. Pay personally from their salaries. That is, Barack Obama's salary. And Michelle Obama, as First Lady, is not prevented from doing a job. If, for example, she was a lawyer, nothing will stop her from continuing to be a lawyer. Right? So I would say that as a third world country, we should be even thinking more along those lines. We are already quite generous to our first and second ladies. We give them offices, right? It's government property. We pay for the electricity and all the bills for these offices. We give them staff, right? We pay them to work in the office of the first lady, office of the second lady. We pay them their aides and so forth. We give them salaries. We give them security, right? So not just the security that they have at home because they are living in the residence of the president or the vice president, but when they are moving to events, when they are moving to their office, we provide them with security at these locations. We give them several benefits that, to be perfectly honest, many wealthy countries don't give to their first and second ladies. So we are already quite generous. And the idea is that we know how much influence and good they can achieve if they are effective as first lady or second lady. So we want them to be as comfortable and capable as possible of providing that good. Okay, you gave examples of the Lordina Foundation of Madam Rebecca Akufo-Addo, who even with along with Joy FM, created the mother and baby unit, the temporary, it's supposed to be temporary, but it's now permanent, mother and baby unit at Komfanoche Teaching Hospital. These are good things, right, that they will be remembered for, and it saved lives. Okay, so it's a good thing, but they did it through philanthropy, which is their purpose, which should be their purpose. Okay, that you want to do good using your influence because you are the first lady or second lady. You want to do good by influencing people to allocate resources to good causes. So I would certainly want to make them comfortable enough to do that. So I'm not going to object too much to the provision of offices and staff and all that. But I think it should stop there. I don't think we should then go further to allocate actual budgets to them. I would be concerned if we went down that slippery slope, because the same way that with the Article 71, people sit down at a table and decide how much they should be paid. If we allocate a budget, people will sit around the table and decide how much that budget should be. So for me, I would rather they, had the free reign to do it through philanthropy.
Hold on, Kwame. My next issue really is about, I want to move away from there a little bit and get into Parliament and speak about how pundits have said that in a way this brings to light Parliament more often than not overextending itself and taking onto itself powers that it just doesn't have, and being unconstitutional. What would you say about that? Because this is one such instance. Clearly, this is something that has been going on for a while, you know.
Yeah.
But for this, we wouldn't be here having this conversation. But if we had allowed this to go, then Parliament would have overextended, and I'm using, you know, as mild, you know, a choice of words as I possibly could.
I think this was one of the arguments advanced by the legal team of Dafianapo, that by Parliament adopting the recommendations of the Prof, they had gone beyond their mandate. And so, yes, I agree with you, because I think you quoted Article 107, functions of Parliament, etc., in respect of these things. And that is why they said that if there was the need for the creation of, you know, that, then it should have come to Parliament by way of a bill from the executive, and Parliament would have obviously done its work on it. Insofar as it didn't come through that channel, it means that you cannot simply say that we are adopting a recommendation. That is not the core function of Parliament. And so, yes. But then again, the question then becomes, why did Parliament adopt it? Why? You know, Parliament adopted it because obviously we have the majority coming from, and again, comes back to the fundamental issue raised by Kojo in his you know, initial submission about wanting to please our paymasters. And so people obviously, it's the first lady we are talking about, and we know the power she wields, the influence she commands. And so people obviously want to do right by her in order that they can catch the eye of the president. Or do wrong by her. Yes, in order that they can catch the eye of the president. Right. So it means that, you know, they didn't go into the into Parliament with their conscience packed behind their actions. They just simply went there because they needed to please the president, and therefore. But then again, comes back to the point I was making, that if we have an article in the Constitution clearly spelling out the core functions of a particular provision, I think that we should respect that, and we must let that operate. That's what. Perfectly
done. I think we can move on to the next issue.
Nothing useful to add.
Nothing useful to add at this point. Okay, let's come straight to, you know, energy. Energy embarrassment exterminates enterprise. The extermination of enterprise through the.
It's the Joy FM documentary themes. Now I know it's Kojo who created
the extermination of enterprise through this embarrassment of an energy sector. Let's go, guys. Or should I?
When I heard, when I read the topic, I think, I don't even understand this. Which kind of Oxford English with
but
this?
You see, when I read the topics, I felt it. Because listen, it's not only enterprise that's being exterminated. My person is being exterminated. let's say, listen, this energy crisis. And, you know, I laugh, but I really want to cry because it's ridiculous. You have electricity for what? Sometimes just 4 hours in a day. There was one night I got so frustrated. I googled contact ECG. I got this site that allows you to send an email, and I promise you, I sent an email because I was just, I mean, how are we expected? So now I haven't gotten a response. I'm still waiting for a response, right? But how are we expected to live and to be productive with what is going on, right? First of all, we do not have a timetable that would allow us to plan, because once you can plan, no matter how bad the situation is, you can make lemons, right? You can make lemons of a terrible situation. But now you can't plan. You can't live. You can't produce. You can't work. And to add insult to injury, when you ask for a timetable, it's as if you are in the wrong. I simply do not understand what is happening. And I dare say that up until now, we haven't been told meaningfully what is going on.
This is a triggering topic. I'm sure not only for me. At this point, Ghanaians are genuinely annoyed. You know, sometimes we say Ghanaians don't get angry enough. But listening to some of the phone-ins we've had on my show, some of the contributions that I've seen people make on social media, Ghanaians are hacked off. They have had it up to here with this ridiculousness. And I'll tell you what. You know, we talk about the effect it's having on enterprises, right? A guy called my show. He said he has an $8,500 oxidation machine. Oxidization machine, I think. It pumps oxygen into water so that he can use it to farm fish, right? So I'm assuming a huge water tank, and this machine pumps oxygen into it. It costs $8,500 because of doing so. And it's not just because of doing so, but also because of the lack of a timetable. Because if he knew the lights were going to go off, he would switch it off himself.
Turn it off.
But the lights go off, come on, off. The thing is blown. $8,500 is blown, is gone. So now, in order to keep the fish alive, he has to change the water every day. God alone knows how much water he's talking about. I didn't ask him. But he's farming fish on an industrial scale. So that is a lot of water, and he's changing it every single day while he is trying to find $8,500 to replace the machine.
That's a lot of money, yeah?
This is someone trying to make a living, trying to do some business, trying to employ a few people, trying to do his bit to improve the economy that you have destroyed. And this is what you do to him. And when he asks you for a timetable, you tell him that he's evil. Isn't that what the energy minister said? We are evil for asking for a timetable. After you do this to us, we are evil. I mean, do you get the disrespect? Now, I'll tell you something, Ama. I may be in the minority here, but I don't want a timetable. I'll tell you why. If we keep calling for timetable, these guys will give us a timetable and stop solving the problem. I know these people. They will give us a timetable and then leave the problem. So every week we'll get a timetable. And the doom song will continue. Because we asked for a timetable and they gave it to us. What else do we have to complain about? The president has already thanked us for our patience. When they moved the generator to Kumasi and they went to inaugurate it like they had built Akosombo Dam. In fact, I'm not even exaggerating. The same energy minister gave a speech at the inauguration. Why do you need to inaugurate a moved generator? You've moved a plant from one place to another. You go and inaugurate it. When they did that, the energy minister actually gave a speech in which he said Nkrumah did Akosombo, Kufuor did Bui, Rawlings did, is it Asogli or whatever, Akufo-Addo has done this. So he was equating the movement of Ameri, a plant that they themselves criticized their predecessors for procuring. They have moved it from one place to another, and they are likening that to what Nkrumah did when he built Akosombo Dam. That's what our energy minister had to say to us with a straight face. And he wants to be running mate to who? He wants to be vice president of where? Oh, but we Ghanaians, we have poor enough judgment to make it happen. Now, look, I don't want a timetable. I want them to solve the problem. We had Herbert Krapper, who used to be he's still deputy energy minister, but now also board chair of ECG. Massive conflict of interest there, if you ask me. But anyway, that's a problem for tomorrow. We heard Herbert Krapper saying that this problem will be solved in a few days. In a few days. The size of the debt in the energy sector is 1.8 billion United States dollars.
Billion.
in a few days? The reason why we have that debt is because people are not paying each other. They are using electricity and not paying for it. Or they are transmitting electricity and government is the biggest culprit. Government owes ECG about 1.2 billion cedis in light bill. Today, PURC has fined ECG board members and their CEO. Right? Okay, ECG board members and CEO are fighting back. But let's even assume they accepted to pay the fine and they paid PURC. Yeah, would that switch on the lights? And do you know why it won't switch on the lights? Because ECG is not the solution. The problem is that we don't have fuel. How can ECG be the solution to that? Do they buy fuel? Are they the ones who buy fuel and put into generators in Ghana? Is it ECG? So you can't find them till the cows come home. Doom so will continue. There is no light at the end of the tunnel. There is only tunnel at the end of the tunnel. And look, we are looking at this bleak hellscape of a future, and we are being told that in a few days' time the problem will be solved. Where are you going to get $1.8 billion in a few days' time? Because anything apart from that is a temporary fix. They say there is some tanker be coming from somewhere full of oil. What happens when that tanker runs out? Because Obesa. So when the tanker comes, they fill all the plants and it finishes. Then what? So 2 months, 3 months down the line, we will go back to Doomso. Look, you have to understand that this is a trauma that we are facing as a people. Not just businesses, but you talked about how it's affecting us as individuals. Middle of the night, the light goes off. I'm lying in one spot. I cover it with sweat. Then I turn onto another side of me. And then I cover that place with sweat. And I pray that by the time I turn back, this sweat has dried so that I can sleep. I'm waking up every 1 hour, 2 hours. Then in the morning when I have had no sleep, I have to go to work and be productive. This economy, this is what's happening to all of us who this same incompetent leadership is relying on our activity to reignite this economy that they've tanked. And you can't even give us light to switch on our fan so we can sleep. Children are waking up with all kinds of rashes on their skin. You take them to hospital and your national health insurance card can't even pay for the ointment that they need. You have to fork out money to pay for that too. On top of the money you paid for your electricity, which still hasn't come. And they are telling us they'll solve this problem in a few days. A few days. Look, I'm tired. I'm tired of being lied to. I'm tired of being told that you are some kind of crack team of leaders when you are fundamentally failing in the most basic aspect of your job. Now, President, you are thanking us for our patience. What patience? Look, I used to have a boss when I was in the UK. Her name was Lisa. Lisa is the laziest person I've ever worked with. She'll come into the office in the morning and she'll thank us all for how hard we have been working. And mention us, individually for some particular projects that we've done well. And then after that, I'll see you later. And she'll disappear till afternoon. So she was thanking us so that we know that she's relying on us to do the job because she can't do it. That's exactly what the president went to do in the Ashanti region. He thanked us because he can't do it. Well, in fact, at this point, even if he can do it, he doesn't care enough to get it done. So no, at this point, this Doomso, whatever they do, will switch on the lights for some time. But if they don't explain to us what they intend to do about the actual problem, the huge $1.8 billion problem, if they don't tell us what they are going to do about that, then as Ghanaians, all we can do is just wait for the light to go back off again. There is no light at the end of the tunnel. There is a tunnel at the end of the tunnel.
I'd like us to take a quick commercial break, Kwame. We will take a quick commercial break, viewers. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Are you searching for the perfect venue to host your next event? Look no further than Meres Event Plus. Discover the epitome of sophistication with our Skybox Event Center. This indoor marvel offers spacious hall area accommodating up to 500 esteemed guests. This beautifully designed space can be tailored to suit various event types, from weddings and corporate gatherings to cultural celebrations and more. We give you a kitchen space where your culinary creativity takes center stage, from gourmet feast to delectable treats. Our kitchen is the heart of flavor and delight. Our luxurious washrooms ensure comfort and convenience for all attendees, as well as maintaining the elegance of a special day. Our breathtaking waiting area is designed to make a lasting impression, while our top-of-the-range changing rooms are befitting of the VIPs of your event. Experience nature's charm at Tichiwa's grounds. Host an unforgettable outdoor event at the spacious and beautiful Tichiwa grounds, featuring a large lawn or terrace area capable of accommodating up to 700 cherished guests. Our changing rooms also provide privacy and ease for your special guests. Call us now on 030-341-6266 or 053-029-6067. Meres Event Plus, where celebrations come to life.
Welcome back. Thank you for staying with us, Kwame. You were just about to have your take on the energy embarrassment.
I think, if we were in a debaters club, I think that Kojo would have won the argument for all of us because he has demonstrated his understanding of the real situation and did not look at it from the perspective of practicality and technicalities. He just spoke in a way that resonates with all of us. I think that there is no argument about the capacity that we have in terms of generation. I think there's no argument. I think that one is settled. That before Mahama left, between 2012 and 2017, when you check on Grid Coast website, it is evident that in terms of generation, they added quite a significant amount of megawatts. So in terms of generation, I don't think we have a problem. And there's that admission by Dr. Mahmoud Baumia, and some leading members of the MPP that the doomsday that we were experiencing prior to the 2016 elections was solved by John Dramani Mahama. So I think that on the basis of that, that argument is also settled. So the question then becomes, why are we facing doomsday? What is the problem? If we don't have any issue with generation, then what is the problem? And the problem is what Kojo has told you. Government owes. Everybody owes. We all owe ECG. And that money is up to 1.8. Mami, do you know what 1.8 billion dollars is? It's not 1.8 million, no. Billion dollars. And you know, even the IMF money that we are going for is just about $380 million. So assuming, without admitting, that we were even to use the IMF money to offset the debt that is owed to ECG, that will pale into insignificance. Do you understand? So that is the magnitude of the issue. We owe ECG. We are not paying ECG. Let me tell you, and this argument was advanced by, because I listen to your morning show every time, by you and your team on your morning show. In fact, you said it, that you suspect that there is some, what word did you use? You said conspiracy theory that is going on in an attempt to sell ECG to themselves. I mean, because it is quite confusing why all of a sudden everybody is attacking ECG. Why all of a sudden Utufo is saying that we should privatize ECG. Why all of a sudden people are now advancing arguments in relation to the privatization of ECG. Why? Because look, and I'm not a fan of ECG, because also they also have their own flaws. But this current board and its CEO, undoubtedly, Ama, I think have been very progressive. I'll be very candid with you. They've introduced an app for the purpose of revenue collection. An app which is, I think now it is the most the number one app for revenue collection in Ghana for all the payment platforms that we have. The ECG app. People use it. If I have, let me show you. I have it on my phone. Except that I don't know how to use it, so I don't use it. But the email ECG. So, but Ama, do you understand? Ama, do you understand me?
Right.
You see, the hypocrisy in all of this is what baffles me. In Mohammed's time, you did not look for ECG to blame. You did not look for ECG to blame in Mohammed's time. You said, you are the president, fix it. But in your time, you are looking for ECG to blame. Why? Because ECG is a low-hanging fruit. So you can easily pluck it and eat it. And because you did serious politics and propaganda with doomsday, and because you are unable to solve the problem, you think that the only way you can get out of the hook is when you place the blame at the doorsteps of ECG. Because the CEO is, I don't know him, I've not met him, but you see, when you have people who are in occupying positions, which people are very open about their situation and also open to suggestions and explaining things to the public, that person is somebody who knows his job and somebody who thinks about the country. Because the ECG boss consistently, I think, on several platforms, tried to explain to Ghanaians what they are doing, how they intend to do this, how they intend to do that. At least somebody gave us some hope that, oh, ECG after all is not a dummy organization, and that people actually have voices and they can actually explain things to us. Do you know what happened? People said, oh, he's projecting himself too much. He's a media CEO. So, Ama, here we are. Now, ECG is to take the fall for it. ECG is to take the fall for it. They won't provide you timetable because they don't even understand what is going on. It is monetary. They don't have the money. So why would they provide you with timetable? Because if you have the money, this is $1 billion. I'm giving it to ECG. ECG will tell you that, okay, because you have provided me with 1 billion, now I will give you so and so megawatts of power. And on the basis of that, you'll be able to know that, okay, today, because of what you have given to us, today we'll share this, tomorrow we'll share that. But there's no money. So what can they come and tell you? If you pay for a service, that's when you get the service. You get the point. So I strongly believe that it is just a conspiracy theory to sell ECG, just like they did with PDS. And people forget easily. People forget easily. Till today, Ama, PDS is still owing the good people of Ghana. Till today, we've not been able to recover the monies that were stolen, because obviously that is what it was. Stolen from the good people of Ghana.
I mean, what do you then make of Herbert Kraper's assertion? That will be the board of the governing body of the ECG. His statements that in a few days all of this will be over.
Oh, but I think Kojo has told you that you must have head before you chew corn. If you don't have head, how can you chew corn? You don't have 1.8 billion. So how can you tell us that in a few days? You see, remember at the start of this whole crisis, there was the conversation about transformers. You remember? And then they said that some transformers were faulty and they were trying to fix the transformers terror. Okay. So at least we listened. We said, no problem, transformers. So the transformers have now been fixed. So what is it now? So
you do not believe that in a few days
it's not going to happen. Okay. If they are going to do it, respectfully, if they are going to do it, then it means that, like Kojo said, it's going to be just to hold the system. Let me say, shall I, for want of a better expression, hold the system for the purposes of election. That's what, so they can agree, they can negotiate with maybe ECG, Greco, and all those IPPs that, oh, you know what, Charlie, election they come. So you spare us small, make we just cross these 8 months, then we go talk. That's what will happen.
So you don't believe
But the real problem is still there. It's monetary. We don't have the money.
Briefly, I think we've exhausted this issue, but just to get a clear sense, I mean, this was hopeful, right? And Kwame mentioned hope in his submission. This is hope that in a few days, all of this will be over. No?
You know, Kwame said it, right? When he said, there's no money. Where is the money? There's no money. Herbert Kraper saying that this problem will be solved in a few days. What he's referring to is what our sources are telling us, that there is a tanker on its way to Ghana, right? Full of crude. Okay. That's one tanker that they've managed to go and free from someone in Europe. Right?
And now we have to
go pay for it with interest at some point. Now, when that tanker comes and we use it and it finishes, then what? And by the way, that tanker, it won't last us till the election.
No.
We're talking maybe, will it even be a month? You get it? So what I'm saying is that this, in a few days, what we might experience is that the power supply will become steady for some time, a month, 2 months,
maximum 3.
Then we will run out, and we still don't have money. We still owe $1.8 billion in the power sector.
That's a lot of money.
We still owe that money, and we don't have it. And government is not paying its bills. This whole problem is because government stopped paying its bills. West African Gas Pipeline, where we are able to use that pipeline to transport our own gas from the oil fields into these, generators. Our own gas. So it's not like we are buying it from Nigeria. We do buy a lot of gas from Nigeria too. But even our own gas, we couldn't move it to the pipeline because we owed the owner of the pipeline. And we are not paying the bill. So obviously he's not Father Christmas. He's not going to allow us to use his pipeline for free. So the money is not there. And until we pay these bills, the problem is not solved. Whatever we may do in the interim, I've heard that somebody is even suggesting that oil, but this time around, go for do so oil. None of these will clear the $1.8 billion debt. Yeah. So, honestly, in terms of hope, until they come and explain an actual plan to us, that look, this is the amount, this is what we are going to do to clear it. Until they do that, forget about hope.
Right.
Meanwhile, we are paying. Prepaid, we go, we buy, we come and load our meter, and the power won't come.
Right. Right. Kwame, you had some brief words. I want us to quickly move on to my favorite topic.
I would have had some glimmer of hope if energy sector recovery levy was still there, because that was mortgaged for a loan. So even that one, we don't have it. I would have had some small hope, at least a scintilla of it. So it's not going to happen, Ama. At this point, we may have to look for where they sell generators, so that even then, look at the price of fuel. Look at our salaries, Ama. Look at our salaries. Look at the prices of goods and services, transportation. So, and the heat wave. So, I don't know what will happen. But like Ojo said, even if we are going to get some small light, it is because some tankers are coming.
So let's hold on. Let's hold on to that. Let's hold on to that hope. Let's hold on to that hope. At least that, and hope that some respite is on its way. Even if it means that this 48-hour, 24, doom would be reduced to maybe 4 hours of something.
It might even stop, but it will come back.
Ama, have you seen this artwork?
I need some hope.
Have you seen this artwork of a gentleman who was stuck on a tree with a snake descending on his head, crocodile in the river, and lion
on the bank of the river?
Thank you. Yes. That's where we are. Anywhere you pass.
Let's move on to some hope then. If there's no hope here, can we move on to some issue with? I need some hope. So yesterday, Professor Naana Opoku-Agyemang was outdoored at the UPSA. Beautiful ceremony, I have to say. And so I would ask us to even start the conversation from the organization, because I'm also for that. I live for these moments, not just because of what is said, but also because of the full picture, the full presentation, how it is said. And so allow me to perhaps congratulate the organizers, for an event that was really well put together. I loved the stage, I loved, the whole choreography, the program lineup, the timing. I think that everything worked out perfectly. Now, let's come to the content. People have said that it wasn't the usual Professor Naana Opoku-Agyemang. I agree. I say this is a new, improved, better version. I see you smiling at me, and I dare say that perhaps, and correct me if you would, perhaps we have seen Prof evolve full blown now into a politician. No.
Yeah, starting with me.
I'm starting with you.
Okay, all right. Okay. You're right about the fact that this is not what we were used to from Prof. This was a very different Prof. I will even go as far as saying that this is her best speech yet. But saying that this is Prof's best speech yet is a bit like saying he is the best behaved prisoner. The standard was not great to begin with. So even though this is her best speech yet, it is not the best speech ever. It is not it's not an Nkrumah speech, it's not a Rawlings speech.
It is a Prof speech.
Yes, I know. And I'm saying that, so when you say her best speech yet, you haven't said much. Because that's not been her strength so far. But what she has demonstrated is that every weakness can be improved on. Every handicap can be mended or can be mitigated. And she is clearly capable of giving memorable speeches. She's capable of giving even rousing speeches. And whether she's there, as in fully evolved, like you suggested, I don't know. I really pray that there is more. That this is not the limit of her ability. That there is more. She can do even more than she did yesterday. Otherwise, it would be unfortunate. Because more is needed. Yesterday, she did things that even your flag bearer hasn't done so far in this campaign. She landed punches that even your leader hasn't landed in this campaign. Of all your talented communicators going up and down to radio stations and debating, majoring in the minors, none of them have articulated these obvious points as well as she did yesterday. And even this is not up to the standard we expect. The standard we expect from an opposition party is fire and brimstone, especially when the party in government is failing at this rate. There should be fodder to be used in a ballistic way by those who are even more talented orators than your running mate. She has some amazing strengths, and I'll come to that in a bit, how you should be using those strengths. But being an amazing speech giver is not one of them. Yesterday was her best speech yet. But that's not saying much. Now, her actual strengths are, one, the fact that she is actually seen. In fact, I don't want to come to the strengths here. Let me finish with the speech. There's one more point to be made about the speech. Then I'll move on. She landed some very obvious, very clear punches, jabs, right? They were effective. She said them in a way that is memorable, so she can be quoted. She gave us talking points. These are all good. We want more of that. One thing she said which people seemed to think was good, but I was underwhelmed by, was the trotro mate point she made. You know, when she said she will not, at the point of, in the interest of her own.
Would you want me to read that for
yes,
you?
Yes, please.
Please allow me to.
That it would be much better to have her own
just
words.
Yes, read it out for you. So she said, wow, this is going to take a while. Do forgive me.
In the interest of the advancement of something,
yes,
self-interest.
Self-interest. Yes. She will not say that she was the trotro mate. So, I mean, we've paraphrased. But the message here was that, look, she is loyal. She's not going to say if things go badly.
I will not, in the advancement of self-serving ambition, declare to the world that I was only the driver's mate.
Thank you. So, I mean, what she's saying here is that she's not going to try and make herself look good by claiming that when things go wrong, she wasn't part of it. Right? Which is the criticism that's been leveled against Dr. Bawumia, who claimed that he was the driver's mate. And I mean, the whole room stood up to that, right? Everybody in the room was excited. I could see on the screen, cheers going up to the heavens. And I remember hearing it and thinking, I'm a little bit underwhelmed by that. Maybe you guys didn't really think carefully through what Prof. Jane has just said. Because let's think about it. What she is saying is that, as for her, if things go badly, she's not going to say that she wasn't part of it. She's not going to say that she's not responsible for the mess, that her boss is the one who did it. She was only the driver's mate. She didn't take decisions, right? She's not going to say that if things go wrong. Am I right so far? Okay, good. So in essence, what she's saying is that if things go wrong, she cannot claim that she would have done things differently. She can't make that claim.
Yeah.
right?
She cannot claim that she would have, yes.
She
because
cannot
they are in the
claim
same
that
boat.
she would have done things differently. Her boss just didn't take her suggestions. She can't make that claim, right? So she and her boss, they are in it to the end. But she's part of the same political party that claims that Dr. Bawumia was brought in because he was an economic messiah. He was brought in to come and deal with our economic problems. So he should have had the balls to stand up to his boss when his boss was making decisions he didn't agree with.
Okay. So
Mrubu, right?
just to clarify,
he should have been able to stand up to his boss and demonstrate that no, I'm economic messiah. I know the right thing. So if you are going to charge e-levy, I'm not for it. Right? I'm not a trotros mate. I'm not a driver's mate. I'm not going to just follow you while you make bad decisions. That's what Prof. Jane is saying.
your interpretation of what she was saying, because what
That's the
she
criticism
said
of
actually,
the trotros mate, that you are trying to say that as for you, the decision, you are not part of it. That if you are not part of it, then you should have been strong enough to carve your own path.
I think it was in the beginning. This is when she starts her speech. She acknowledges the former president. She appreciates his choice in her, appreciates his confidence in her, and pledges her loyalty. She actually asks permission to address him directly, and then she pledges her loyalty to him directly. I think in the spirit of that, she says this. My understanding, because you have your understanding of what was said, my understanding of what she said was that regardless of perhaps whatever backdoor differences we may have or whatever, I will not come out to the world to declare for my self-serving purposes that I was only a mate. This is my understanding of what was said. Not to say that I will not disagree with you, or I will not, be forthright. I will not bring my expertise. And she said it to the world. To the world. I will not come out to the world to come and tell the world that.
It is my understanding too. What that means is that if they disagree, the world will never know about it, right? But I'm saying that her party, the NDC, are criticizing Dr. Bawumia for the same thing that if you claim that what they were doing, you didn't agree with it, you should have told the world. Don't now come and tell us because you want us to vote for you as president that you were the driver's mate. You should have told us when you were, I'm sorry, maybe you have never heard it, but please, every panelist from the NDC who has come to criticize the vice president on our platform has made this point, that you can't now be divorcing yourself from the mess, because if you had better ideas, you should have, in fact, some of them even say he should have resigned. If he didn't agree with what the government was doing, he didn't like e-levy, if he didn't like the borrowing and all of that, he should have said so.
This only comes up when you are telling the world. If you don't mention it, if you don't ever come out and talk about the fact that you're only the driver's mate, nobody will criticize you and ask for you to say anything to the world. This is your backdoor issue. If indeed you were the driver's mate, which is the fact, keep it backdoor. But if you feel compelled to speak about that, then you should have done the other things in the open too. I think that's the extension of the argument. Assuming he had never said anything, like he hasn't told us about his disagreements, then nobody would ask him.
These criticisms
do you understand? These are both our opinions and interpretations.
These criticisms existed long
what has
before
been said.
He came to give his driver's mate speech at the same venue, ironically. These criticisms existed long before he came to say that. It's not because he said that the NDC criticized him like that. No, they've been criticizing him on this for some time. When he was not talking about the economy, and they were saying that you've made yourself digitalization. When the e-levy was passed, these criticisms came up then. It wasn't after he gave that speech. So it wasn't that speech was not the causal factor. The criticism existed. So I'm just saying that by declaring that, as for me, dear, I will not be driver's mate, you are essentially saying that the thing we are criticizing Bawumia for, I'll come and do the same thing. If things go bad, I won't say a word. That's really what she said. And people stood up and cheered her for that. So anyway, for me, that was a misstep. But look, I want to end on the positive. Prof. Naana Opoku-Agyemang has great positive qualities. One of them is that she has a reputation for integrity. Okay, I'm choosing my words carefully. She has a reputation for it, which is a powerful asset in a politician. Do you know how you people should be using it? In fact, there are two qualities you should be using. One, she has a great reputation for integrity. Two, she's a woman. These are great advantages. I'll tell you why. First of all, it means that when she fires at the opponent, when she fires at the NPP,
you can't insult her.
You can't insult her. You don't have anything to fire back with. You have no mud to sling at her because there is no skeleton
Baggage
in her closet. So she can freely criticize. You should be using her as your biggest mouthpiece, like how the NPP used Dr. Bawumia before 2016. You have an equivalent. And she has demonstrated in this speech that she can speak in a rousing way. She can. That should be your whole focus now. Training her on how to have very quick responses, measured, to have great institutional memory, to bring up issues quickly. Because as for the criticism, there are plenty of things to criticize this government on. So many. There is a smorgasbord of criticism to choose from. A cornucopia, a buffet of criticisms. She should have them all at her fingertips. Number two, she's a woman. And look, whatever it is, call it whatever. Call it chivalry, call it chauvinism, call it patriarchy, whatever you want to call it. Men are more reluctant to publicly insult a woman than a man in the political sphere. So they measure their responses, at least the enlightened men. They measure their responses because the last thing they want is to be called a misogynist. The last thing they want is to be labeled as attacking a woman. Men are quite sensitive to that. So they measure their words. That's a massive advantage. Massive. And I want to see the party taking advantage of that. Putting her front and center, but of course preparing her first. And there is a concern, you can't teach an old dog new tricks. She's quite advanced in years. Whether she's able to pick up new skills with speed at this stage in her life is something that you guys, the party has to test. The people who work on her team will have to test her in this way to see if indeed she can pick up new skills. She can become dexterous at quickly bringing up issues and quickly firing factual shots. There is enough ammunition for you to turn her into the perfect weapon. That's what I would like to see going forward. I would like to see the party use her in that way. Otherwise, at the end of it, we'll be sitting around the table wondering what her contribution was to the result, like we did after 2020.
Disagree much.
You have been instructed
but
to
it's
disagree.
Your opinion. No. I'm talking about what you said. I disagree with you.
Oh, you disagree?
I disagree.
I thought you were informing Kwame that he must now disagree.
I know, absolutely not. Kwame is free to think the way that he wants to think.
Okay, good.
But I disagree with you. But of course,
right.
Those are your opinions, which
Sure.
are surely entitled to them. Kwame, what are your opinions?
Well, thank you very much, Ama. I think this Bawumia Trotro meat argument flows from the stream of things which he himself put forward prior to the 2016 elections. If you recall, in 2016, he was literally the face of the MPP and made several promises and spoke to the hearing of the Ghanaian people about the things he was going to do when given the opportunity. And the fact that he had the economic magic wand to turn the fortunes of this country around. He was the one who is on record to have said that if the fundamentals are weak, your exchange rate will expose you. So I think that it flows from the myriad of things that he himself put forward. And that is why people are holding his feet to the fire of responsibility. I don't think it is because he is the vice president per se, but it is because he himself had told Ghanaians the things that he was going. In fact, President Akufo-Addo is on record to have also said that Bawumia was the one who was going to liberate us from the shackles of our economic quagmire. And so we should give them the opportunity. And that is why Ghanaians are on him. And also in the early stages of their the beginning of their administration, he also continued to make some statements in relation to the economy. I think when we saw a certain rebound in the economy, he said he had arrested the dollar, giving the keys to the IGP and all of that. So he himself put himself in that position, and that is why Ghanaians are today using his words against him. And on the basis of that, I think that it was misplaced really for him to have said that he was only a driver's mate, because of all that had happened prior to the elections and also whilst in office. So on the basis of that, I think that he caused that. There's some good in what he said. That also means that I wish I could have done more. Yes, I have what it takes to do more, but I was not given the opportunity to do that because I am only the vice president. You get a point. So I think that on the basis of that, that's maybe what he intended to communicate. So that's also that. I'm on record to have been one of the people who criticized Professor Naana Opoku-Agyemang in 2020. I criticized him heavily over her acceptance speech. You recall that I was subjected to a lot of insults. My Facebook post was screenshotted and sent to certain people who in turn called certain people who now came to me and asked me to go and delete my post and things like that because it was hurting the campaign, etc., right? But I was very firm in my mind that in political communication, message, context, language, audience, sentiment, situation is important. And at the time, there was a huge disconnect between her speech and the people. And I thought that I needed to put that out in order that going forward, maybe at the time, they would have redefined her communication strategy so that her message could resonate with the people. Because she's a woman, and she came in unexpectedly. Because nobody expected John Dramani Mahama to pick a woman into an election. But so she had an advantage, she had an added advantage, so she could communicate directly to the women and also to academia. So she had a huge advantage, really. And like what you said, she's not tainted. She doesn't have any baggage or anything like that. So I was expecting more from her. Of course, she didn't deliver that to my expectation. She didn't deliver to my expectation. I don't know. I'm losing my chain of thought. I'm tired. Sorry. Now, yesterday, her speech was profoundly grounded in what we describe as proper political communication. How someone will say something and then you just leave your steering wheel and you are just mesmerized. I'm like, did she say this? So I was just literally clapping behind my steering wheel whilst going to the law firm. I was so excited because I needed to see that side of her. People think that she's new to this. People don't know her. Prof at the time came in as an academic person. She wanted to be, but now she's a full-blown politician. She understands the nuances of political communication and the effect of punchlines. Because I can tell you confidently that when I listened to her speech, I was, of course, expecting her to say certain things. Then the things that I was expecting her to say are the things that she said, and I can remember them as I sit here with you this evening. I can remember them. And one of them that got me laughing was the likening of excavators and Abubu Yah to Agof. That was profound. You know, the sharp contrast. You know what I mean? That the Abubu Yahs and the excavators flew faster than Nkonfem. I mean, oh my goodness! I was just that's what got me clapping, Kojo. That was very smart, right? It tells you that, and I have no inside information, but it tells you that if perhaps she allows herself to be given some guidance by people who understand the current political terrain, she will do better. And she may even go beyond, because she was actually also signaling to you that you people think I'll only be a vice president. You know what I mean? So in the event that I decide to contest as the flag bearer of the NDC, thank you very much. you know, but when we get to that bridge, I'm sure we'll cross it. But I have very little to say, because Kojo really, and I don't know whether Kojo studied a little bit of political communication, because everything about political communication is what you put forward. Her strengths, her weaknesses, and what he thinks you can capitalize on. Because take it or leave it, Dr. Bawumia has a bigger hurdle to cross. And I don't know how he's going to do that. Maybe he has a serious team put together who will be handling those things for him. But as far as credibility and integrity, you know, are concerned, I don't think that he has any way around it. I wish Prof all the best. I wish her all the best. Maybe, just maybe, we can have a first female vice president of the Republic of Ghana. But the Ama doesn't want me to say maybe. Okay, well, whatever you are thinking, may it come to pass. But let me leave it.
Yes, please do.
Because because I don't want to say silly things.
Yes,
but you were talking about the organization of the event, and I think that yes, it was really well organized. Kudos to the organizers. I think they did a very good job. And I like the speech from Johnson Asiedu Nketia.
Oh yes, seek me first.
The kingdom. So all those people walking around claiming they are there, what they call them, they are the kingmakers.
Yes.
Beware, because even the linguist, you may not get it, you know. But I really wish Prof all the best. I do hope that this time around Ghanaians accept her and give her the opportunity to partner John Dramani Mahama in 2025. That's it.
May I ask something? And this is just because we operate in the media space, right? I've noticed that many of the high-profile NDC events, the exclusive broadcasting rights go to Wezo TV,
Charlie,
and all other media houses have to go and tap in to that.
Slow.
Look, I don't know, but is this how they intend to proceed if they win? If they win, will they be giving all media rights to Wezo TV, and then we all have to go and tap their feed?
Yeah.
So what we show on our screens depends on the abilities of the Wezo TV employees.
Yeah. Even the camera,
the quality of what we show to our audience depends on how well trained Wezo TV staff are. If that is how the party intends to do things going forward, they need to rethink it, because it will not be well received.
I agree with you.
It will not be, and besides, I mean, there is a certain amount of what was the word for it when you are employed? Nepotism. In that,
it'll be skewed.
Right? So we don't want that example to continue.
Especially also because the person who owns Wezo TV is on record to have acted in ways which was at variance with, media freedom.
So everything you say, and I love the fact that on this show we say it as it is. I love that, and I'm going to keep with that. Everything you say, I agree with, of course. However, I'll be quick to add that if the concern is about quality, I think so far so far,
Ama, it's
the
not just
quality
about
has
quality.
been
It's
good.
not just about quality. It's not just about quality. I think what Kojo is trying to tell you is that if you are inviting media houses to come and cover your event, invite media houses, pay them what is due them for them to cover your event for you. They know the kind of camera angle. Because you see, this thing that they are doing, I think is purely because they think that some media houses may not necessarily project what they want, and therefore it is important that we use our own so
They're
that we
trying
get
to control the narrative.
No, but you can't. You
Yeah,
see,
you can't do that
it's
in a
not
democracy.
right. You can't do that. You can't do that.
But there are
You see-
programs that we all tap from sources.
Yes.
It happens.
Yes. No problem.
So look, what I'm saying is this. Someone can organize an event and say that this is the exclusive media partner, and so we all have to tap from them. That's fine. But you are not an event organizing company.
And
you are a political party.
And you know the funniest thing.
And you hope to be in government one day.
Yeah.
So when you become a government, we also have to come and tap Wizard TV.
And
It's not about quality.
Yeah, and Kojo,
I'm
let
not
me-
criticizing their quality, but I don't want to be limited to their
Absolutely.
abilities.
And you know what? They actually jam networks so that you are forced to pick from them. What sort of thing is that?
But
you see,
also, I think that
Ama,
we are moving away from the conversation. I would like us to stay
it's
on
just
let me
to
stay on the
raise the
conversation. Let me stay on the
organization.
conversation. I just wanted to
Right.
quickly
Right.
add something to what I forgot. It escaped me. Look, the communication department or brew or whatever of the NDC must be up and doing, because this morning I was expecting Professor Naana Jane outdoor event to be the center of all the conversation.
But it is the center
No.
of all the conversation.
Telling you, if you
It is
if
the
you like,
center of all conversations.
watch. No, Amma, please. One of the things I don't like is that when we are advising you people, you don't want to listen. We are on the fence. We are sitting on the sidelines. We see what you
Can
may
we
not
proceed?
see.
Proceed.
I'm saying that if you look at the major newspapers, it was Graphic picked it, a few others picked it, but I'm saying that you should be able to control the narrative. That many things, very many things he said, and then Honorable Linus Afuseno say, oh, you know, her speech has given the communications bureau a daunting task. He's one of the people that I really revere, but this one I will tell him. You know, and you know that almost all the paragraphs were punchlines, so you know they have to put. I said no. If you want to send a message out of the many punchlines, pick about 5 of them. Get your social media team active. Get your people in charge of TV, radio, newspapers, whatever it is, very active. Get them to work. Make sure that today, everything on the internet should have been about Prof. Everything. And that is the advantage NPP always has over the NDC. Remember, in 2000, I will never forget this. In 2016, you know, I was at Airtel. 2016, or before 2016, whatever it is. Every time I went on Facebook, every single time I went on Facebook and I opened Facebook, the first thing you would see is Akufo-Addo's picture and something about Akufo-Addo. In this particular NDC, all these people who have a lot of following, all they care about is promoting themselves. You will open Facebook and this person has posted his picture or her picture promoting themselves. Now, you have 8 months to an election. Your president, your flag bearer has been all over the country promoting himself, promoting the Building Ghana agenda. And you, as a communications person, or as somebody who has a lot of following on Facebook, you think that what you need to do is to project yourself and promote yourself when you want to win power. Are you serious?
Speaker.
Are you serious?
Giving marriage advice.
Then instead of promoting your flag bearer, you are promoting yourself. Are you serious about winning an election? And you see this thing that they think that, Charlie, this and right now, the way things they go with one. Look, let me tell you, anything can change in politics, especially when it's getting closer to an election. Anything at all can change. So yes, you had 6 million votes. Yes, there's a possibility that you can increase those 6 million votes. But will that translate into victory for you? These are questions you must ask yourself. Don't limit the Ama, please, I beg you, do not do that. They must, right now, I don't know how the structure is or whatever it is, because you don't tell me those things, so it's fine. But right now, I think that Prof should have an aggressive social media team waiting and working in her office day and night, 24 hours, making sure that she is out there, making sure that throughout the week to next week, what she did and the things she said would be topical on all tabloids, on all media platforms. If you have to pay. Get people, when they open Facebook, create memes, you know, the Aboboya thing, the create memes.
Okay, so
of Aboboya, of Aboboya and confirm flying together, and the Aboboya flying faster. Create memes. Because we are in the social, in the social media era.
Kwame.
People want to see that on TikTok.
Kwame.
People want to see that on Snapchat. Do these things.
Kwame and Kojo. I'm putting it out to both of you. I want to ask you guys a question, a very simple question. All of us here, the three of us here, all say one thing, that when it comes to integrity, Kojo, you say it's a perception, right? That there's a perception of integrity for her.
She has a reputation.
She has a reputation for integrity. I say she has integrity. You know, Kwame agrees, right? So in terms of integrity, the three of us are in agreement where she's concerned, right? Do you think that today's Ghanaian can't see through the fluff from substance? What's genuine? Kwame, me and you, we work here at Pan-African TV. At Pan-African TV, we don't buy viewers. We don't buy likes. We don't do all the social media tricks and gimmicks and fluffery that everybody else does. And we pride ourselves in that. In the fact that the followers that we have, genuine. The likes that we get, genuine. The viewers you see on our page, genuine. The comments you see, genuine. Doesn't that add to integrity?
So, I beg you, let me just...
Doesn't... No.
Let me answer you. I understand where you're going. Let me answer you.
We criticize Baumia today.
Hold on. Let me answer you this question.
And as part of the criticism, we speak about the packaging.
Respectfully, let me provide an answer to you. If Baumia had performed, we wouldn't have been talking about packaging. So that one, bury it.
So shouldn't the conversation be about leadership?
How would people,
what Ghanaians need?
Yes, no problem.
Solving our problem,
hold on.
Healing our land.
Can I speak, please? You are the host. Let me speak.
Speak, Kwame.
In terms of generic numbers, NPP and NDC have their generic numbers. The only reason why on social media you do paid posts is so you can reach a wider audience. You don't reach the audience who are already following you because you have them. So you do paid posts and paid ads so you can reach other people. Why is Pan-African Television on satellite? Why didn't we limit ourselves only to multi-TV? Because we wanted to reach a wider audience. Why are we on that other one? What's his name? ACS or whatever they call it. Because it's in some parts of Europe. RCS. Because it's in some parts of Europe. Right. And so we've spread our tentacles into Europe as well. The point I'm making to you is that in terms of generic numbers, both NPP and NDC have their numbers. This one has 6 million, this one has 6 million. Now, how do you win an election? You win an election with +1. How do you get the +1? You have to do 10 times extra to get your +1. Appreciate
that. I'm coming, you are right. You are right. No. Could you hold on one second? Kwame, you are right. I appreciate everything that you are saying. I'm not saying you are wrong. I'm just saying that in the spirit of integrity, can we appreciate when the focus is on substance over hype? Not to say that hype will not be done. Not to say that no attempt will be made at reaching, a broader eyeballs, broader views. That's what I'm just saying. That.
What's your definition of hype?
Can we appreciate when a lot of effort is put into being genuine, being truthful, staying with the issues, staying with what matters to the Ghanaian,
that is no problem.
The bread and butter issues that affect us
she has put forward the substance. She has put forward the credibility. She has the integrity. Okay? So it's like a package. She has it. And I don't think around the table we all disprove that. We don't disprove that. I am saying that if you have a product and it is very good and you don't sell it or you don't promote it, nobody will buy it.
How did she sell yesterday?
So that is the point I'm making.
Was the conversation.
Now
how did she sell yesterday?
Hold on. So now,
brilliantly,
fantastic. No, now what I'm saying is that she has the product. The product is what? The speaking points that she has put forward. Now, I am saying that it is left with the party to now be creative in selling that which she has put forward. That's the point. I'm not talking about Prof. Prof has done her work. The producers have produced the movie. Right. The marketers must go and sell it.
Very good points made. Kojo, please come in. Good points made.
Does she want to win?
Of course.
She's not going to win by having integrity. She's going to win by making Ghanaians believe that she has integrity. If you have it in your room, it doesn't win you votes. It wins you votes when you make people believe it. When you make people see and believe it. You make people accept it.
Accept it.
That's who you are. It's not enough to just have it. You can sit and talk all the substance in the world. It won't get you a single vote unless you are able to let that substance reach the customer in a way that the customer can consume. Who is your customer? Your customer is spending ages on social media looking at Hajia Bintu.
Yeah.
That's your customer. Your customer is spending ages on social media watching skits of people.
Macaroni, Mr. Macaroni.
What is that? That's your customer. And you want to use integrity to win their vote. You want to go and give a speech at UPSC and think that will win the election for you. No. It is what is done with that speech that will win the election for you.
Okay.
So if you
my question.
If you like, sit there and have integrity and do nothing with it.
So let me ask.
You see, when I was even giving you the feedback, what I said was that she has a reputation for integrity. I want to see how the party uses it.
Yes.
That's what I said. If I thought it was enough to just have a reputation for integrity, or as you seem to believe, to have integrity, if I thought that was just enough, I would have said you've won. She has integrity, so you've won. I didn't say that. I said I want to see how you use it. This is an election. You can't win it with organic numbers. You don't win election with organic numbers. You better boost.
Okay. I appreciate everything that you have said. Now, again, we have a consensus. We all agree that the product yesterday was amazing. It was great. As Ghanaians,
I said it was her best so far, not that it was
I'll
great.
take it. Her best so far.
But that's not great.
Best. Can I just go along with best? Okay.
It was her best so far.
I need one word. I
just said
I'm trying to make a statement
best so
here. So it was the best. Let's go.
The tortoise's best 100 meters.
Joe, can we proceed?
Great.
So what she did yesterday was the best.
So far, her best.
Right? As Ghanaians, and we sat here just a few minutes ago talking about the electricity situation. We've sat here months on end, talking about all the issues that have affected us in the most unimaginable, unbelievable way these past couple of years. Kojo, you have used better words than I could ever put together to describe what a failure this government has been. Do we not owe it to ourselves, once we see integrity, to lobby around it and make sure that integrity wins? Are we saying that in spite of all the failure that has happened, in spite of all the difficulties that we are facing as Ghanaians, until integrity is sold to us, we will not vote?
Integrity
is that what we are saying?
Integrity does not translate to competence. Integrity does not necessarily translate to competence. The fact that somebody has integrity doesn't mean the person is competent. You may have integrity in one department and be very incompetent in that same department, but you have integrity. Maybe in other areas, right? Maybe in the way you conduct yourself, maybe in the way you communicate. You may have integrity, but in the way you do, like for instance, Kojo's bosses in the UK, she has integrity in finding a way of convincing Kojo.
There's another word for it. It's not integrity.
Whatever it is.
There's a word for that.
Whatever
That is not integrity.
Okay. You see, so integrity does not, it's not competence. That's so let's
Can
not
you please
equate
answer
it.
my question?
No, hold on. Let's not equate it to
Isn't
competence.
integrity enough for you,
You see,
family?
let me tell you something.
you?
Let me tell you something. When in 2020, when we went into the elections, I'm telling you that Ghanaians, majority of Ghanaians were fed up with Akufo-Addo already. They were, but he still won. And the Prof. Naana Opoku-Agyemang was still the same person on the ticket with John Dramani Mahama, with the same integrity and credibility. But they didn't win the 2020 elections. So you have to do twice as much as you did previously in order to let the people believe that beyond the integrity is also competence. And for me, I am quite satisfied that she has the competence to be able to manage a country. She has the competence and integrity, of course, in managing UCC. That one, she has it because she's done it. We've seen it. So you can say, oh, she was very competent. She has integrity. But in managing the country, we don't know that. So how will we be convinced that she is competent enough to be able to do that? We need to put her to test. So what I'm saying is that let us sell the message. Let the people believe that yes, she is the one who will be able to do or support John Dramani Mahama to achieve the Ghana that they want to build. That's the point I'm making. I have no qualms at all with her and the message. No. Okay. But I'm saying that now it has moved beyond the peripheries of the statement alone. Okay, it has gone into an arena where communication now takes precedence over the product.
Okay.
You know, this question that you asked about why we won't just rally around integrity based on what we've experienced. How will we rally around it if we don't know where it is? How do we rally around it if we don't know where it is?
Let us see it.
Do you think that just by giving one speech, she has communicated, she has transmitted integrity to the whole country? We now all know that that's where integrity is, so we should go and follow her. There are some people who don't even know her name. Do you know that? If you show her picture to some Ghanaians, they will snap their fingers and not remember the name of the person they are looking at.
You have to work more.
So, if we don't know where the integrity is, where are we going to rally? You seem to not realize that there is her job, and then there is the job of the party. Her job is to be good. The party's job is to tell the world that she's good.
Yeah. She's done her part.
It's not enough. It's not true that as a part not on no. It's not true. It's a ridiculous expression. I don't know where it came from. As a part can never turn its own. Someone has to sell it. Someone has to sell it.
Or there must be an outlet where somebody can walk to and go and buy the other part.
How can I sit at home and paint the most beautiful picture in the world, hang it in my house, and by the time I wake up, it is sold?
Now I don't know. How? That's funny.
No, so please, let's snap out of it. By the way, this is the same thing she did wrong the first time. This idea that she thought, well, I'm good.
Or maybe the party thought.
So, Kojo, that's an assumption.
No, a lot of, please.
That's an assumption, Kojo.
Why are you talking as if I've never had any interaction whatsoever with the person we are discussing? So why are you telling me it's an assumption?
Whatever I say is an assumption too.
Okay, fine. I'm talking about what I know. I'm saying that the first time around, there was a certain belief that Prof had. That look, I have proved myself in this world. I have a track record.
Which is not a lie?
Of excellence. None of it was a lie.
Of course.
I have a track record of excellence. I've done a job. I've trained myself to the highest level of qualification. I have executed difficult tasks that only a few people in this world can do.
So that
I've done it.
That should turn on.
I've done it. So, I mean, what in the world will make someone not vote for me? You lost. So you have to understand it's not enough to be good. The real job of a politician is to convince people, the voter, that you are good.
Okay. Thank you, gentlemen. Are
Thank
we
you,
ready
Ama.
to convince the voters that Prof is good? Kwame and Kojo and Ama.
That's not my job.
It has to be our job.
Please, it's not.
It has to be our job as Ghanaians who want to heal our land, Ghanaians who want to see the forward movement of this country, to sell what is good when we know that it is good.
No, it's not my job to sell anybody. My job is to provide a platform. Anyone who wants to come and sell themselves can come.
Thank you, Kojo Youngson of Joy FM.
Well, I would say that we have a country to build, right? And so as young as we are, we must all be involved in our democratic experiment. And so on the basis of that, if I see a product that is good, that is worth marketing, I will try to market it. In the same vein, next time when I'm marketing another product, don't come and tell me that don't come and tell me that why am I marketing another product? Because we have to develop a culture where it doesn't matter whether you are NDC or MPP. What matters is that we have somebody who is executing or helping at least execute the aspirations of the people of this country. That's the most fundamental thing. That when we wake up in the morning, whether NDC or MPP, we have light. That when I go to the fuel pump, whether NDC or MPP, I can buy fuel into my car and I can drive off. That when at the end of the month I'm paid, whether NDC or MPP, my salary is good enough to be able to take care of myself, my family, and my home. That's all. That the market woman who sells kontomire and tomato in the marketplace would go to the marketplace so Kojo Youngson can come and purchase from her so she can make money and take care of her home. Whether NDC or MPP, I do not really, listen to me very carefully, I do not care. What I care is that Ghana works. That's all.
Coming for president.
At the time when First Lady and Second Lady
Go back to God.
Imagine at this time where it would not pay to be a second. Thank you, gentlemen. Always a pleasure. Thank you. I enjoyed this.
Thank you,
I
Ama Pratt.
hope you enjoyed this as much as I did. Interesting times ahead. I am very excited about Prof's speech. I see integrity. I intend to sell, and hopefully we shall have our first female vice president in Ghana. Thank you for watching. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.
Truly African.
Ha! Hata wodi some look fast so. Baba, me again. Yes, we are late. Me call you ma'am. Who hear me? Menti me sent my friend doctor when I'm kwaso oba. Share the question. See what we swear any. She has malaria. Hey, malaria. Oh, what they say with the router? Me copy the absence here. A draw ne friend router mixer. You come and learn a draw. And running router. So
Gap trap and the draw ku abaso body ase. Wabo router mixer abaso. Router natural products no ne router mixer. Ya e dikutie a treat. Router tonic and the router life wa. E huhuru e fini srade bone e fini padua mu. Nasa support the immune system no. Router de obi ase ye. FDA ade dwede nkra to ya to.
China Now is a show dedicated to providing the world with an overview of today's China. Here, you will learn about how China works, how China thinks, and how China views itself and the rest of the world. Let China not be far away from you anymore. Join us every Saturday at 8 a.m.